And if you're able to stand, please do so. Gentlemen, please remove your hats for tonight's invocation and the playing of our national anthem. Tonight's invocation brought to you by Hall of Famer Craig Mishler.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we do thank you for such a beautiful night that you have blessed us with here at Midvale Speedway. Past drivers and working personnel here at Midvale Speedway later tonight. What a blessing it will be to see these drivers and personnel. We ask you to watch over tonight's drivers as they perform for us, your fans. We ask you to be with the track personnel as they do their best to keep the program going as quickly as possible. We ask you to watch over us, guide us and direct us, and give us a safe trip home later tonight. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Presenting the colors tonight on behalf of Gillen Body Shop, Gabe Pringle, Dennis Wood, and the Sizzler, Blaze Bacon. Pringle, Dennis Wood, and Blaze Bacon for presenting tonight's colors on behalf of the Gillen Body Shop. Models. Again, our dashes tonight in honor of Scott Baker. 4 cars, 4 laps for number 4. Is Bob Page, the 17 of Bob Snyder Jr. The 48 is the Mountain State Missile, Jonathan Ritter. The 0 is George Riddle, your fastest qualifier. Top 4 qualifiers, 4-lap dash is green. Page up the racetrack a little bit and a spin in turn number 1. Page got up the racetrack a little bit, looked like for the helmet dash for the McIntosh Oil Company late models here on Gillen Body Shop Hall of Fame night. Page and Snyder were green. Snyder going to have the advantage in the outside lane. Page going to battle back on the bottom. Still side by side into turn number 3. Page on the bottom. Snyder slips up just a little bit. Page going to lead lap number 1. Ritter trying to get to the inside of Bob Snyder Jr. for that second spot, but Snyder still battling in that outside lane for the race lead with Page. Snyder gets a good run off of 4. He'll lead at the line. Ritter thought about the 3-wide move, thought better of it. Still side by side up front. White flag coming out this time. White flag for Snyder, Page, Ritter, and Riddle. Snyder by a half a car length into 3. Here comes Page, battles back on the bottom, off turn number 4. Your winner at the line, Bob Snyder Jr. by a nose. Bob Snyder Jr. by a nose over Bob Page. Jonathan Ritter finishes in the 3rd spot, George Riddle in 4th. So pulling to the line, your helmet dash winner for the McIntosh Oil Company late models. In the Landstar Recruiting Agent, Factory Street Pub and Grill, Alexis Builders, Yoder Plumbing, My Water Doctor, Guest Motors, Weathermakers Heating and Cooling, Smith's Auto Sales, Van Meter Auto Repair, and FLF Race Car sponsored number 17. Put your hands together for Bob Snyder Jr. The 66 is Lewis McGrath in the Magic Hobbies sponsored 66 from Strasburg. The number 38 is Kevin McClintock from Dover, Ohio, in the Van Meters Auto Repair sponsored 38. And your fastest qualifier tonight in the number 24, Nick Grubbs from Canton, Ohio, in the Valley View Forestry UFO Republic State Mortgage sponsored number 24. Field in turns 3 and 4. Philip Cox, Lewis McGrath, green flag in the air. Philip Cox with the race lead. McGrath going to battle back on the outside. Cox will lead lap number 1. Philip Cox, Lewis McGrath, Kevin McClintock, Nick Grubbs. White flag in the air for Philip Cox. Into turn number 3, Philip Cox going to come off turn number 4. He's going to win the helmet dash. McGrath in second, McClintock third, Grubbs in fourth. Pulling to the line, your winner from Sherrodsville, Ohio, in the new Philly Barbell, your pizza shop, K9 Fitness, Snyder Home Improvements, Finish Line Designs, and Otto Palilli, the fourth sponsored number 09. Your winner, Philip Cox of the Helmet Dash. Little tidbit of information that Hall of Famer Craig Mishler just told me. Helmet Dashes back in the day used to give a helmet away to the Helmet Dash winner. But of course, helmets now $100, $200 and some dollars, they stopped giving away helmets. So pretty cool little tidbit here on Old Timers and Hall of Fame night. Brought to you by Gillen Body Shop as we move into the Snap-on Tools by Doug Pool Street Stocks. So field will come around to get the green flag from Chief Starter Jonathan Smith. Passwater Sr. and the 118 of Locker. Green flag in the air. Passwater's all out of shape off of turn number 4. Passwater's going to push up just a little bit. Locker going to have the race lead down the back straightaway. Here comes Sr. He'll battle back. He'll have the race lead by a nose into turn 3. Locker loose in turn 4. Locker and Wood way up the racetrack. That's going to open up the bottom. Pringle looking for that second spot. Locker again up the racetrack. Here comes Gabe Pringle for second. Passwater Sr. out to the race lead. Bob Passwater Sr. will take the white flag. Gabe Pringle, Dennis Wood, Colt Locker. Turns 3 and 4, your winner, Bob Passwater Sr. Gabe Pringle will finish second, Dennis Wood third, Colt Locker in fourth. Ohio in the Sanctuary Church of God Freedom Auto Finance in the Glass House. Sponsored number 75. Put your hands together for Bob Passwater Sr. Is Curtis Finlayson. 4-lap helmet dash for the top 4 qualifiers in the compacts, and we're green. Phil Bunton Jr. going to have the race lead down the back straightaway. Into turn number 3. Rufner going to battle back on the outside. DR3 trying to dig in that outside lane. Bunton going to lead at the line. Salinger thought about the 3-wide move, thought better of it. Phil Bunton Jr. continues to lead halfway home, 2 in, 2 to go. White flag. Almost a dead heat between Rufner and Bunton at the line. Bunton going to get loose. DR3 going to have the lead now. A three-wide battle into turn number 3. Salinger on the bottom. He backs out of it. Off turn number 4, your winner, DR3, Don Rufner III. Phil Bunton Jr., Jeremy Salinger, and Curtis Finlayson. Ennis Hulling, Zippy's Auto and Truck Repair, Peebles Racing, and Staten-built SXS Cages, sponsored number 007. Put your hands together for DR3, Don Rufner III. Helmet dash, the number 6 is Nolan Caldwell. The number 62S is Tyler Scott. The 42 is Damian Andrews. Your fastest qualifier and new track record holder, Corbin Robinson in the 68. Green flag in the air. So caution on the speedway for a failed start. Nolan Caldwell getting a little jumpy in that number 6 machine. So we'll try it again. For kids or racers with under 3 years of experience, getting ready to go green, and we're green. Caldwell and Scott. Way up the racetrack is Corbin Robinson, almost into the fence off of turn number 2. Damian Andrews to the inside of Tyler Scott for the second spot. Nolan Caldwell going to be your race leader on lap number 1. Nolan Caldwell, your race leader, Damian Andrews, trying to run him down. White flag in the air for the youngster, Nolan Caldwell. Nolan Caldwell, checkered flag, Damian Andrews second. Tyler Scott third, Corbin Robinson in fourth. My Water Doctor, Bucky Mowing, CCR Roofing, Romar Performance Motorsports, sponsored number 6. Put your hands together for Nolan Caldwell. Getting ready to go green, Corey Herron, John Sanquest Sr. 8-lap heat race, number 1 is green. John Sanquest Sr. out to the race lead. Corey Herron second. Here comes the 25 of Chris Grubbs to the inside of Herron. Grubbs will take over the second spot. Bear Swartz looking for third. He'll get to the inside of Herron. He'll take over the third spot. Herron up the racetrack. Here comes Bobby DeVore the second. He'll take over fourth. John Sanquest Sr., your race leader. Chris Grubbs second. The 77 of Bear Swartz runs third. The 169 of Bob Page in fourth. Corey Herron trying to hang on to that fifth spot as the 88 of Dennis Wood and the 69 of Jerry DeVore and the 57 of AP Wren. Chris Grubbs to the outside of John Sanquest Sr. for the race lead. 2 laps to go this time. Sanquest and Grubbs. Chris Grubbs to the outside of Sanquest Sr. He'll take the race lead. White flag in the air. Sandquist almost lost it off of turn number 2. Bear Swartz going to take over the second spot. Your winner, Chris Grubbs, in the 25. Bear Swartz second. Sandquist in third. Bobby DeVore the second. Dennis Wood will round out the top 5 with Jerry DeVore, AP Wren, and Corey Herron. Pulling to the line, your winner from Alliance, Ohio in the G&H Construction. UFO, Malkett Racing Engines, Baker Performance, and William Tax Service sponsored. Number 25. Put your hands together for Chris Grubbs. 27, fixed back up and ready to go, shaking things down tonight. Wes Ennis, Braden Swaney, Brandon Bailey, Andrew Smart. In the front 2 rows, 8-lap heat race, we're green. Braden Swaney with the race lead. Here comes Ennis. Swaney going to lead at the line by a nose. Ennis going to battle back on the bottom. Good racing up front between Braden Swaney and Wes Ennis. Wes Ennis pulling double duty tonight, driving in the modifieds and the compacts. Bob Page in that 49, running in 3 divisions tonight. Wes Ennis going to have the race lead. Brandon Bailey looking to move up to the second spot to the inside of Swaney. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. Wes Ennis, your race leader. Wes Ennis continues to lead the Rooster up to second. Bob Page to the inside of Swaney for the third spot as Rick Sibla going to pull pit side in the 02. 2 laps to go for Wes Ennis. White flag for Wes Ennis as Bob Page tries to get to the outside of Brandon Bailey. That's going to open up the bottom for Swaney. Swaney unable to fill that hole. Final time down the back straightaway. Into turn number 3. Wes Ennis will pick up heat race number 1. Brandon Bailey second. Bob Page third. Braden Swaney in 4th. Andrew Smart in 5th. Will Walker in 6th. Again, if you're parked 3 deep behind the main scoring tower, you might want to go move your vehicle before we have to tow it if somebody has to get out. So if you know you're parked 3 deep behind the dumpster back here, there's 3 and 4 deep. You might want to move now, please. Pulling to the line, your winner from Strasburg, Ohio, in the Ennis Hauling Vortex Vinyl J&S Mowing sponsored X09, Wes Ennis. Heat race number 2 for the Van Meter Auto Repair Modified. Curry on the front row. Green flag is in the air. Vanessa McCreary on the outside, got a little bit loose, going to hang on to that race lead. Vanessa McCreary to the bottom, nice move by Vanessa. She'll lead lap number 1. Snyder, Rufner, Brandon France, your front 4. Vanessa McCreary will lead lap number 2. Don Rufner the third to the inside of Bob Snyder. He'll take over the second spot. Here comes Zach Leisure looking to the inside of the 28 of Brandon France for 4th. Vanessa McCreary doing a good job up front, looking to take home her first heat race in a modified. DR3 all over the back bumper now. 2 laps to go. Can McCreary hang on? Turn number 3, white flag in the air for Vanessa McCreary. Don Rufner III, Bob Snyder Jr., and now Glenn Jewell, the Hall of Famer, to the inside of teammate Brandon France for 4th. Final time into turn number 3. McCreary looking for her first career heat race win, and she's going to get it. Vanessa McCreary wins. DR3 finishes 2nd. Bob Snyder Jr. 3rd, Glenn Jewell 4th, and Brandon France in 5th. Vanessa McCreary's come a long way, getting seat time in that number 71, and finally picking up her first career checkered flag in a modified. Pulling to the line, your winner from Yerkesville, Ohio, in the M&D Designs Divorce Auto Repair sponsored number 71. How about a big round of applause for Vanessa McCreary? The number 1 is Bryant Smith. The number 3 pulling triple duty tonight, Bob Page. The 67 is Kyle Rector. The 58 is Zach Koger. The 22 is Kylie Wood. And the 54 is the Mineral City Marauder, Chase Berkey. Getting ready to go green, Ian Porco and the Pork Chop. 8-lap heat race is green. Ian Porco going to have the race lead off of turn number 2. Pork Chop battling back in the high lane. The iRacing Star on the outside. Bryant Smith going to move to Thomas's inside for the 2nd spot. Ian Porco going to move out front. Was your feature winner last week in that number 64. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. Ian Porco up front. Bryant Smith all over the rear deck lid of that 64. Kyle Rector up to the 3rd spot. Kylie Wood 4th. Zach Koger in 5th. Bryant Smith to the outside of Ian Porco. Smith going to slip up off turn 2. Almost got into the fence off of turn number 2. And that opens up the bottom for Rector in the grocery getter. Oh, 3 wide. Kylie Wood going to stick her nose in there. She is all the way alongside Rector. They make it work. White flag for Ian Porco. Bryant Smith hanging on. Kylie Wood looking to the inside. Wood, a nice move. She's going to take over the 2nd spot from Bryant Smith. Checkered flag for Ian Porco. Kylie Wood will finish 2nd. Bryant Smith in 3rd. Porco will pull to the line. Put your hands together for the Yerkesville, Ohio driver in the Trenton service. D&B Machine, Pork Chop Vinyl Graphics, and Clear Light Headlight Restoration sponsored. Number 64, Ian Porco. Field on the back straightaway. Only his 2nd start. TJ Dreyer in the 73 will bring the field in. Green flag in the air. Bob Passwaters Jr. will have the race lead into turn number 3. Dreyer on the bottom in 2nd. Katie Wood to the outside. Bob Passwaters Jr., TJ Dreyer, Scott Lindell, and the 44 of Brandon Donnelly. Your front four. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go for Passwaters Jr. TJ Dreyer almost lost it in turn 3. Hung on to it. 2 laps to go, trying to hang on to that second spot with Scott Lindell all over him. Oh, both of them get loose off of turn number 2. Lindell going to loop it in turn 3. The 99 of Jason Gruhl, your front four. Green-white checkered finish for heat race number 2 for the street stocks is green. White flag for Passwaters. Checkered flag for Bob Passwaters Jr. Brandon Donnelly finishes second. TJ Dreyer third. Jason Gruhl in fourth. Katie Wood fifth. Scott Lindell in sixth. Sanctuary Church of God, Freedom Auto Finance in the Glass House. Sponsored number 74. Put your hands together for Bob Passwaters Jr. Rufner Jr., the 57 of Blaze Bacon. The 0 is Alan Clark. The 44 is Mike Stuber. The 36 is Wes Ennis tonight. And the 64 is Jamie Leslie. So 8-lap heat race. Number 1 for the Bucky Mowing Compacts. Chief starter Jonathan Smith. Green flag in the air. Zach Marshall with the race lead. Donnelly in second, has the bottom lane if he wants it. The 47 of Rufner up the racetrack a little bit. He runs third. Zach Marshall, your race leader. Don Rufner Jr. in second. Sean Donnelly in third. Alan Clark fourth. Battle for fifth between Ennis and Bacon. Don Rufner Jr. to the outside of Zach Marshall for the race lead. Rufner up the racetrack in 3 and 4. Marshall on the bottom. White flag, Rufner Jr. to the outside of Marshall. Marshall trying to hang on. Here comes Wes Ennis. Ennis to the inside. A little bit of contact. 47 up the racetrack just a little bit. Checkered flag for Don Rufner Jr. Zach Marshall finishes second. Wes Ennis third. Jamie Leslie fourth. And Sean Donnelly in fifth. Sponsor number 47, put your hands together for Don Rufner Jr. Field coming down the back straightaway. Marcus Cox, Ryan Alm, Clayton Oliver. Green flag in the air. Ryan Alm up the racetrack just a little bit. Going to battle back on the outside. Marcus Cox still there on the bottom. Still side by side in turn 3. Ryan Alm with the advantage through 3 and 4. Cox up into him. And almost a dead heat at the line. Ryan Alm still trying to hang on to that outside lane. Marcus Cox on the bottom. Clayton Oliver in the 19. Drew Romig in the 69. Justin Courtney in the 5. The 22 of Braden Maurer. Oh, Ryan Alm almost spins out in turn number 1. Stacked up the field behind him. Tyler Harmon to the infield. Is Clayton Oliver now loose up on the high side of the racetrack? Halfway home, 4 and 4 to go for Marcus Cox. And the 6 of Ryan Alm spins to the infield, gets into the Uke tire. Caution on the speedway. Of Tyler Harmon. 4 in, 4 to go. Marcus Cox, your leader. And so caution on the speedway, Drew Rome. Getting ready to go back to green. Restart, Marcus Cox, John Heide. Green flag back in the air. Clayton Oliver pulls off in the 19. John Heide, your race leader in the 00. 2 laps to go for John Heide. Braden Maurer going to take over the second spot on the outside of Marcus Cox. Good move by Braden Maurer on the outside. White flag for John Heide, Braden Maurer, Marcus Cox, Drew Romig, and Tyler Harmon. Checkered flag for John Heide. Maurer, Cox, Romig, and Harmon will round out your top 5. From Strasburg, Ohio, the Haas's Marine, Bub's Concrete, Feasters Flooring, sponsor number 00, your winner, John Heide. Eight-lap heat race compacts. Getting ready to go green. Guest flagger on the flag stand. Green flag is in the air. Oh, contact between Timmy Long and Jonathan Weber in turn number 1. Caution on the speedway. Love me some pork chop. Green flag in the air. Jonathan Weber out front. Here's the 23 of Brenton Irwin. And the 46 of Timmy. Gives a little hip check to Brenton Irwin. Timmy Long back up to the 2nd spot. Car's bouncing like a pogo stick on the front straightaway. The 85 of Jonathan Weber continues to lead. Gavin Roop to the outside of Savannah Alm for the 4th spot. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. Brenton Irwin up to that 2nd spot, all over the rear deck lid of the 85 of Weber, as we have a caution in turn number 4 for the 4 of Andrea Leach. Jonathan Weber, Brenton Irwin, green flag is in the air. Irwin going to have the lead on the outside, and we'll close the door on Weber in turn number 1. Brenton Irwin. Brenton Irwin and Jonathan Weber. Savannah Alm and Timmy Long battle for the 3rd spot. Irwin and Weber in turns 3 and 4. Irwin, your leader. Savannah Alm up to the 3rd spot. Here comes Gavin Roop. Roop looking for the 4th spot on Timmy Long as he gets sideways in 3 and 4. White flag in the air for Brenton Irwin. Here comes Jonathan Weber. Weber to the outside. Checkered flag for Brenton Irwin. Jonathan Weber will finish 2nd. Gavin Roop 3rd. Savannah Alm 4th. Timmy Long in 5th. From Uricksville, Ohio, and the Chronizers Equipment and Sales, Lonzer's Excavating Racer 8 Performance, and Lee's Famous Recipe, sponsor number 23. Put your hands together for Brenton Irwin. Green flag is in the air. 8-lap heat race for the trophy stocks, and we're going to be 3 wide before we get to turn 1. Could have been 4 wide. Up the racetrack, and the 4 Thompson spins, and we're going to have a pile up in turn number 1. In the air for the brothers Keller, and here the inside, 3 wide in turn number 1. Worrell will have the race lead as the 37 of Jacob Keller going to battle back on the outside. Here comes Caden Scott. Scott on the bottom. He'll move up to 2nd. Evan Worrell, your race leader in the 07. Flat right front tire looks like on the 12 of Tristan Keller. He'll pull to the infield, and we're left with 4. No, this isn't a trophy dash. It's the heat race for the trophy stocks. Evan Worrell, your race leader. halfway home. 4 in, 4 to go for Evan Worrell and Caden Scott. Evan Worrell way up the racetrack now, a three-way battle for the race lead. Caden Scott on the bottom. Worrell holding him tight. Off turn number 4, Worrell up the racetrack. Caden Scott going to lead at the line. Jacob Keller trying to get to the inside of Worrell for the second spot. A white flag in the air for the final preliminary event of week number 12. Hall of Fame ceremony coming up at intermission. Caden Scott, your race leader. Through turns 3 and 4 and off of turn number 4, your winner, Caden Scott. Jacob Keller going to finish second. Evan Worrell third. Noah Kaufman in fourth. In the Chronizers equipment sales, Lee's Famous Recipe, Last Stop Bait and Tackle, Feaster's Mobile Home Service, sponsored number 62. Your winner, Caden Scott. Hall of Famer Paul Haver. Hall of Famer Glenn Jewell, driving tonight in the modifieds. Here's Glenn Jewell. Hall of Famer Joe Tedesco. Hall of Famer Ron Hoopengarner. Hall of Famer Jolly Roger Leinert. Jolly Roger Leinert. I got to stay away from that. Jay Peterson. Hall of Famer Jay Peterson. Hall of Famer Kenny Carroll. Hall of Famer Mike White Bucks Dawson. Chuck Harris. Mark McGrath, his son racing into modifieds. Hall of Famer Clyde Gardner. Paul Miller down here. Kenny Vickers, not in his car tonight, but he's here. Good to see Kenny Vickers. How about Bear Swartz? Bear Swartz out there racing tonight. Of course, representing his father, Alan Clark, Delmer Clark. We've got Gillen Body Shop down here, Mike Gillen Jr. and Wes Gillen representing their dad, Mike Gillen Sr. How about my old buddy, John White, one of the old timers. Dave Sluka is here. His son's still racing in the open modifieds here at Midvale Speedway, and he is also the pace car for tonight, Dave Sluka is. All right, how about a big round of applause to our old timers and our previous Hall of Famers. Also, Hall of Famer Chris Talati down here. Forgot about Chris Talati. Also, how about Hall of Famer John Chapman and Craig Mishler? Also want to announce Chuck Barrett, one of our old timers. Chuck Barrett, Hall of Famer, soon to be. Bill Heil is standing down there with his Steeler hat on. Matthew Helms, of course, future Hall of Famer, I'm sure.
Former employee
Jason Neely is here. Jason Anthony also here. Alan Bedard.
Jason Anthony and Bill.
Yeah, there's Hall of Famer Bill Ditto down there. I miss Bill Ditto sitting down there with the hat on. Cigar man. I did. Rindy Sibla also here. Bob Sibla not able to be here, but Rindy's here. There she is. Bob just had surgery, so it's okay. He's a little laid up, but Bob doing good. All right, let's get into our Hall of Fame class, our 6th Hall of Fame class. We'll start off with the people that were unable to make it here tonight. First, we'll start off with Gary Madej. He was honored last week here at Midvale Speedway. He started racing at Midvale Speedway in 1966. In 1967, he ventured up north to race at Canton Motor Speedway and raced on dirt at Wayne County. Had several wins, was inducted into the Twin State Hall of Fame, or the Twin State Auto Racing Club Hall of Fame in 2018. Again, how about a big round of applause for Gary Madej, who is not here, that got inducted last week here at Midvale Speedway. Our second member was born in Clare, Michigan in 1938. He served in the United States Navy and started driving for a local race car owner when he returned in 1960, racing at Cadillac Fairgrounds and the Mount Pleasant Speedway. He married his wife Joan in 1962. They moved to Beaverton, Michigan. He left his day job in 1971 to pursue racing full-time. Ed won the Dixie Speedway Classic in 1965, again in 67 and 83. One of his biggest wins was in 1969 at the King of Dirt Racing at Tri-County Speedway near Cincinnati, which is now the World 100. In the late 60s, the owner of Hoosier Racing Tires, Bob Newton, made a deal with Ed to test and promote his tires. In addition, Newton encouraged Ed to travel farther south and sell race cars rather than just driving them. As a result, he formed Howe Racing Enterprises in 1971. He won the Florida State Championship in 72, 74, 75, and 76. He won both the Alabama State Championship and the prestigious Snowball Derby at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida in 1972. In 1973, he put fellow Michigan driver Tom Mayer in a team car. The duo totaled more than 77 wins in one season. Howe broke one of racing's superstitions, painting his car green. They added 180-degree headers to his car that resulted in a high-pitched buzz, giving him the nickname the Green Hornet, still used in their corporate image today. Here at Midvale Speedway, he won the 1977 and 78 Firecracker 150. He also won the First Fall Classic in 1985. He supplied the cars that Cale Yarborough drove, and Neil Bonnet and David Pearson won Ohio Invitationals in. He was inducted into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame in 1988, the National Dirt Racing Hall of Fame in Kentucky in 2001, and the Berlin Raceway Hall of Fame in 2008. Howe Racing has sold more than 4,000 chassis and racing products all over the world and remains in its original location. Ed is now retired with his wife, and his son Chaz continues to grow and run the business. Ladies and gentlemen, unable to be here tonight, but let's give him a big Ohio Midvale Speedway cheer that he can hear all the way up there in Beaverton, Michigan. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, the Green Hornet, Ed Howe. Also want to introduce Tim Johnston, also Larry Kilpatrick, and Farmer Tom Smith, who are Hall of Famers. Moving into our third member of the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame class. Started racing here at Midvale Speedway on Sundays in 1982 in the street stock division. He also raced at Barberton on Saturday nights. Wes had an enjoyable and successful 13-year career. He said he isn't sure how many races he won, but he has boxes of trophies to prove that he did. He remembers fondly Mid-Vid racing videos, placing a video recorder inside his car long before GoPros came out so they could record and show the fans what the driver sees. Wes would like to thank his sponsors over the years, especially Brightwood Motors and his beloved wife, who was a racing widow for 13 years. He also wanted to thank his stock car washer, John Chapman. Unable to be with us here tonight, he is in treatment, so our thoughts and prayers with him. Please welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, number 98, Wes Galbraith. Our next inductee was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and enjoyed a long and successful racing career by designing, building, and driving dragsters, super modifieds, and sprint cars. He began his racing career in the mid-1950s, drag racing in the Northeast. He switched to circle tracks and super modifieds in 1959. Joe taught himself how to weld aluminum and build all the bodies while his brother Frank, who was confined to a wheelchair, did the engine work. Joe engineered and built most everything that went on the car, from exhaust headers to suspension, to springs, to bodies, to the wide base wheels. He was known for bringing new innovation to the sport, amassing many wins and championships in the Northeast at tracks like Lorraine, Sandusky, Cloverleaf, Oswego, and right here at Midvale Speedway. He won the Midvale Invitational for the Super Modifieds in 1962 and again in 1964, along with 2 Midvale Feature Championships. In 1971, Joe and his wife Laverne started their own business, creating fiberglass accessories and kit cars, including a 1952 MG TD replica. He retired from racing in 1975 and moved his family and business to Daytona Beach, Florida. After his retirement, Joe enjoyed building and flying radio-controlled airplanes of his own design. He also participated in his grandson's go-karting activities, and he loved to tell racing stories. He was inducted into the Sandusky Speedway Hall of Fame in 2003 and the Lorain County Speedway Hall of Fame in 2005. Sadly, Joe passed away in December of 2007. Through the years, he was a loving husband, father, and role model who always put the needs of his family first. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Joe Martinsik. This is his daughter Laura accepting Joe's Hall of Fame plaque tonight. Our next Midvale Speedway inductee raced from 1969 to 1978 or so in the figure 8 division. They called him Nutsy for a reason. He wasn't going to let off in the X. He was going to go out there and hit whatever he could. Even one night, his wife wouldn't let him race, so he changed his name to Salvatore Petraglia. They even had a ceremonial burial for his car in the infield here at Midvale Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Joe Nutsy Maffo. Our next Hall of Famer was born in the same house he lived in his entire life. He is the youngest of 7 children. His siblings are Bob, Willard, Bink, Ray, Doyle, Bonnie, and Betty. His father passed away when he was 12. That forced him to quit a lot of his extracurricular activities to help out his mother. He was the only child still living at home. James served in our country in the U.S. Army from 1961 to 1963 as a sergeant first class. Duff started tuning up cars at the age of 17 and began racing at Midvale Speedway in 1964. He competed in the modified late models, always driving a blue oval. He started in a 1958 Ford and then built a 66 Mustang, putting it on that 58 chassis. Duff also played interleague baseball up until he was 29. He had a kennel raising and showing German Shepherds. He proudly had one of the top kennels in the country for 6 or 7 years. After retiring from driving, Duff continues to build classic cars from the ground up. In recent years, he did a navy blue 1933 Ford, his first show car in over 50 years. He also built a 1938 two-door maroon Ford sedan and is currently working on a 1964 half-ton pickup. Duff has a daughter, Natalie, 3 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. He is a friend to all that knew him. He was known as a real character. He would give the shirt off of his back to anyone. He is Midvale proud, another reason why we are Midvale strong. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, James Duffy Stafford. Our next inductee grew up having the need for speed, dabbling in drag racing and motorcycle racing before racing OPC tunnel boats for Baja Motorsports through the 1970s. Although never a driver, Jerry became involved in short track racing in 1985 while helping his son-in-law AJ Diano in the street stocks and sports stocks at Canton Motor Speedway. Later on, Fastmass sponsored his own team with drivers AJ and Roger Leinard, along with substitute drivers Jim Coffey and Mario Diano. In 1991, Jerry opened his shop on the Boulevard, Fastmass Racing, where he built and sold fast mass outlaw bodies, along with selling chassis and car parts to endless lists of local drivers and car owners, including myself. During this time, he also started setting up cars for owners and drivers like Kenny Carroll, Rick Watson, Don Angel, Matt Gribble Sr., John Klein, Greg Bewley, John Bornhorst, Dino Long, Greg Grove, Bob Haney, and Dave Wright, amongst others. Jerry traveled with many race teams over the years, including Dino and Dan Long, in the main event series, Ryan and Joe Tedesco in the ASA series, Mark Malkett for Dirt Late Models, and Steve and Mike Gillen Sr. in the main event racing series. Most recently, Jerry has helped set up cars for Kyle and Kevin Rector in the street stock division here at Midvale, and Dave and John Saluka in the open modifieds. Jerry is a local legend, always willing to sell you a part, give you a setup tip, or tell you a story. If it ain't fast mass, you get passed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Fast Mass, Jerry Massarelli. Tell you a quick story. I went over, Jerry hung a body on my stock car, and I asked him, can I put fast mass on there even though I'm not going to be very fast? He told me it was okay. So, our next inductee's father started bringing him to the races in 1949 at Sportsman Park, now known as Northfield Park, where they harness race today. That experience made him a lifelong fan and participant and follower of stock car racing in one way or another. His dad had a stock car in the early to mid-1950s that raced at Strasburg Speedway on Friday night, Canton Motor Speedway on Saturday, and if it was still race-worthy, Midvale Speedway on Sundays. He worked many hours on his dad's cars over the years. In 1957 or 58, Earl started driving go-karts and won numerous races. In 1959, he drove a short time for the legendary Jack Volk of the 301 fame. During that time, he discovered that being newly married and working through an electrical apprenticeship left him little time for car racing. So in the early 60s, he started helping out and learning tower duties at Canton Motor Speedway. In 1965, he was hired as the chief judge and race director at Canton, where he worked for 21 years. Throughout those years, he worked the tower for Barberton, Cloverleaf, and Columbus on occasion. Before the digital age, Earl built timers and timing systems for many tracks across the country, one of which was sold to Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. In 1999, he was hired as the race director right here at Midvale Speedway, where he and his wife ran the scoring and tower duties for the next 8 years. In his 29-year career of officiating, he is the most grateful for his family and their understanding while he was gone all those Saturdays and holidays. He said it is a privilege to have met so many fine people and only a few that were challenging. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Earl Swinehart. Our next inductee started racing at 15 years old at Burton Speedway. Throughout his career, he never actually owned a car, but drove for many owners. Throughout his career, he ran in a 5-state area. He got to compete here at Midvale Speedway against many tough competitors on asphalt and dirt. One of his biggest thrills was winning the Firecracker 150 right here at Midvale Speedway. He liked the long races on a short track. He said as a traveler, the Talati family always treated him well and opened up their arms. Jeep and his wife of 61 years, Georgine, have 3 children, Don, Alan, and Sue. He feels very proud to have raced with the best of the best here at Midvale Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Jeep Yakabuchi. And he's wearing pit pass number 6969 tonight. Of course, Jeep drove the number 69, so pretty interesting. Our next inductee celebrated his 29th wedding anniversary with his wife Mindy coming up on August 29th. On their first date, he took her to Midvale Speedway's car show, held back then at the Monroe Mall. She always said she should have known right then what she was getting into. Dave practically grew up at Midvale Speedway, coming to the track since he was about 4 years old. His idols, of course, his uncle Ron Hoopengarner and Rich Rohr. He has always been a supporter of many cars over the years, helping Ron Selway, Gary Hoopengarner, Ron Degg, John Tannerelli, and the Ripleys. He has been a tech official here at Midvale Speedway since the early 2000s. If there's an accident in turn 3 or turn 4, he's always one of the first guys on the scene of that crash to make sure the driver's okay. Dave and Mindy have 2 children, Erica and Mason. He is a diehard fan and supporter, an official who has sacrificed a lot to dedicate his weekends to Midvale Speedway. He has racing in his veins. Please welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Dave Hoopengarner. Our next inductee started racing in 1952 at different tracks all over Ohio and PA. He drove Packards, Hudsons, Buicks, Chevys, Mercurys, a Ford, and many Dodges at tracks like the Rubber Bowl, Canton Motor Speedway, Barberton, Cloverleaf, Wayne County, Lorain, Sandusky, Heidelberg, Cadiz, Sharon, Hickory, Zanesville, Canfield, Painesville, and of course right here at Midvale Speedway. He won championships at Barberton on asphalt in 1966, and the next day at Wayne County on dirt, something they said couldn't be done back then. He won championships at Barberton in 78, 80, and 86. He is in their Wall of Fame, and he always finished in the top 10 in points. He won at Barberton on Saturday nights and Cloverleaf on Sundays. Bob also held track records at Barberton, Canton, and Wayne County. His son Bob Jr. always kept him in a race car, something he is very proud of. He was a staple here at Midvale Speedway and the voice of the pit area for several years as a track official. Pappy said his favorite race was right here at Midvale Speedway for the officials race in September 2014. At the ripe age of 84, he hopped in an old Ford Sheriff's car and whooped all of our butts. Mine was included. And Jason's, yours included. It was the final time that he raced. In 2016, he was inducted to the Twin State Auto Racing Club and Cloverleaf Speedway Hall of Fames. His wife Betty sadly passed in 1990. They have 4 children, Bob Jr., Paul, Hall of Famer Mike, and Diane. Although he has a 4th son, Tim Schmidt, who married Diane. They are now 4 generations of race car drivers, with his sons, along with his 4th son, Tim, and his son, Timmy, Pappy's grandson, Paul Jr., and great-grandsons, Carson and Ty. Continuing on the Miller family tradition, he is very proud of them all. Please welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Bob Pappy Miller. So Pappy just told me that he raced here full-time the year that Jolly Roger Leinert started racing. So if that tells you how long Pappy's been around here at Midvale Speedway. Our next inductee is the first woman driver to be inducted into the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame. She started her racing career at the age of 10, driving a quarter midget with some friends on a dirt track at her family's dairy farm in Talmadge. When she got her driver's license at the age of 16, she started racing in powder puff races, an all-woman field, as women couldn't race with men during that time. She won all of those events for 6 straight years, driving the cars of Paul Wright, Wayne Hayes, Bob Pappy Miller, Chuck Glunt, John Crumrine, and Roger Black at Midvale Speedway, Barberton, and Sandusky. In 1976 was the first year women were allowed to race with men. Her father bought a late model for her, and they came here to Midvale Speedway, which became her home track. Janet picked up several wins at Midvale, including her first feature, a special match race for the fastest 10 late models. She also picked up a win in Roger Black's car at Midvale and Daryl Dexter's at Canton Motor Speedway. She came back in 1981 to race in the 50-lap Ohio Invitational, driving Roger Black's number 29. She also ran Black's car at Barberton in 1985 and picked up the win. She said those years of racing were a lot of fun. She just wishes it could have lasted longer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first woman driver to be inducted into the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, the First Lady of Midvale Speedway, Janet Parker. Also have to give a huge shout out to Janet, who helped me with a lot of these bios this week. So thank you, Janet, again. I know she was texting in her car. Hopefully she wasn't driving, but I know she was hitting me up with a lot of information, and we, myself and John, appreciate it very much. Okay, going to have everybody stand up for our final inductee, our 13th and final inductee, just like I want everybody to do on lap number 4, the late model feature. Our final inductee first raced cars in 1957 that he built as a drag car because he wasn't old enough to run on an oval. When he was 19 in 1975, he first built a stock car, a 1968 Chevelle. The first race he entered at Barberton Speedway, he won. The next year, he built a 72 Chevelle called the Fruit Loops car, his first late model. After that, Scott had many different cars, a Howe, a Hanley, Port City, and FLF. Some of the best motors came from Malkett, Drame, and Powerline. No matter where he went, he was fast. Scott raced all over here at Midvale, Barberton, Cloverleaf, Lorain, Sandusky, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Michigan. He was a member of the ORA, the Iceman Series, the Main Event Series, and the Hooters Pro Cup. He was also a well-known and respected fabricator. He won countless features at almost every track he raced. He won 6 main event races as well as a championship at his favorite track right here at Midvale Speedway. He also won several Sandusky cavalcades. He won the AC Delco Murray's Iceman Championship in 1999 and the Ohio Late Model Series Championship in 2000. He was a professional on and off the track with a huge fan base, me included. He was a kind man, he had a huge heart, and he was great with fans. Sadly, last summer, we lost Scott. He was set to be inducted into the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame last year, but out of respect for his family, we postponed that until this year. Tonight, we welcome Scott home. He will be missed forever. Please put your 4 fingers in the air and welcome to the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame, Scott Baker. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for your 6th class in 2021 for the Midvale Speedway Hall of Fame. They will win the extra $200 bonus from Gillen Body Shop. Of course, tonight's Hall of Fame ceremonies and Old Timers Night brought to you by the Gillen Body Shop. Make sure you visit them at 416 Cary Avenue Northwest in New Philadelphia. Starting in row number 3, the number 50 is Will Walker. The 49 is Bob Page, pulling triple duty tonight. The 09 is Philip Cox. The 66 is Lewis McGrath. Your fastest qualifier, the 24 of Nick Grubbs, the 38 of Kevin McClintock. Those two, keep an eye on that row. Row number 5 can win the Gillen Body Shop bonus. Braden Swaney in the 57. The 09 of Wes Ennis. The 3 of Austin Berger. The 13 is Kenny Feaster Jr. The 28 is Brandon France. The 87 is Zach Leisure. The 28 of Glenn Jewell. The 007 of DR3. The 71 of Vanessa McCreary. Getting DeVore and the Rooster. Bob Snyder Jr., Randy Gray, and the 75 of Bobby DeVore, the second, rounding out your starting lineup. Jerry DeVore will lead lap number 1. Brandon Bailey in second. Andrew Smart right there on the bottom in the third spot. Then the 02 of Rick Sibla, your front 4. Rooster going to get down in front of the youngster Andrew Smart in the third spot. Sibla on the outside in the 02 as he tries to get to the outside of Smart. Now they get stacked up behind Smart. Sibla and the 50 of Will Walker battle for 4th. Bobby DeVore, the second, pulls pit side as his brother Jerry DeVore leads in the number 4. 55 of Brandon Bailey in second. The youngster Andrew Smart running third. Fourth, the 50 of Will Walker. The 09 of Philip Cox. And contact now between the 24 of Grubbs and the 02 of Sibla. That stacks up things up just a little bit. The 66 of McGrath to the inside of Grubbs. Caution on the front straightaway. The 71 of Vanessa McCreary spins. 6 laps complete. 19 to go. Jerry DeVore and Brandon Bailey. Green flag in the air. So big stack up on the front straightaway as Jerry DeVore back out to the race lead. How about the youngster Andrew Smart up to the second spot? Philip Cox up to third. The Rooster Brandon Bailey dropping in an outside lane, and he's got a problem. Brandon Bailey going to pull pit side in the 55. Looks like a flat left rear tire. The 24 Nick Grubbs up to the fourth spot. The 50 of Will Walker in fifth, and the 02 of Sibla, the 49 of Page. Battle between Swaney and the 66 of McGrath for the 9th and 10th spots. Andrew Smart looked to the outside of the 4 of Jerry DeVore, thought better of it. Now he's going to settle back into that second spot. Smart again trying to look to that outside lane, trying the crossover. Jerry DeVore doing a nice job up front with the youngster Andrew Smart. Both of them looking for their first career feature wins. As Grubbs closing on the 09 of Philip Cox. Front 4, nose to tail, halfway home. 13 laps complete, 12 to go. Oh, Andrew Smart got a run, and he'll back out of it. Had a good run off of turn number 2. Nice decision by the youngster to back out of that one. Jerry DeVore holding a pretty wheel up front in that number 4. Philip Cox, Nick Grubbs battle for that third spot. And now Willie Walker and the 49 of Bob Page have joined the front. 6-car breakaway for the race lead. Andrew Smart looking for a way around Jerry DeVore. Philip Cox trying to hold off the 24, Nick Grubbs. And Will Walker trying to move in on the front four. Can DeVore or Smart pick up their first career feature wins at Midvale Speedway? 6 laps to go. Smart's there. He'll back out once again. Andrew Smart again trying to get that run off of turn number 2. 4 laps to go. He gets a run on the front straightaway. Smart backs out of it again. He almost had the lane on Jerry DeVore. Into turn number 3. Almost to the door. Contact between the top 2 and they spin. To green, Jerry DeVore, Philip Cox, 21 complete. Green flag is in the air. Two machines. Green flag back in the air, DeVore and Cox. Off turn number 2, Philip Cox around the outside will have the bottom. New race leader, Philip Cox. Jerry DeVore back to second. The 24, Nick Grubbs in third, Will Walker fourth. Philip Cox into turn number 3, looking for the white flag from chief starter Jonathan Smith. Jerry DeVore second, Nick Grubbs third, Bob Page fourth, and contact between McGrath and Will Walker off of turn number 2. Caution on the speedway for a huge stack up off of turn number 2 between Lewis McGrath and the 50 of Will Walker. That will give us a 1-lap shootout to the finish. First win of the season, pulling triple duty tonight. Kevin McClintock looking for 2 in a row. He's got to have some things happen in front of him. 1-lap shootout, getting ready to go. Green off of 4. Green flag in the air. Off turn number 4, your winner, Philip Cox. Nick Grubbs finishes second. Jerry DeVore third. Lewis McGrath in fourth. Philip Philip Cox. Getting a trophy. All right, man. Good run up through the field. You had to be patient a little bit there. And then the 24 was kind of all over the back of you. And the 4 and 17 kind of checked out a little bit. And I think everybody was waiting on the 17 had a little bit better car than the 4 did. And it was time. He wanted to go. And you were thinking what?
I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, I seen him ducking under him, getting sideways, and I was like, I'm just going to hold back a couple laps and see what happens.
Kid's going to be good. He's going to be somebody to be reckoned with.
He's going to be fast. I mean, I really think he is.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, the contact happened. Then the restart. You had a good restart on Jerry in the outside lane and got by.
Yeah, we bumped tires a little bit. I think he tried to hold me a little high. But, I mean, we both finished, so that's the main thing.
Who you want to thank on this 09 tonight?
First of all, my wife. I can't forget her. I can't put her last. Your Pizza, K9 Fitness, Snyder Home Improvement, and New Philly Barbell. Yeah, of course.
I got you, buddy.
I got him every week, so. But, yeah.
Well, congratulations. At least you thanked your wife first, so you won't be on the couch this week.
Oh, I'm already in the doghouse.
All right. Your winner, Philip Cox. So Philip Cox back to Victory Lane here. Neck tuning Victory Lane at Midvale Speedway. So getting ready to go green. 15-lap Canton Addiction Trophy stock feature is green. Jacob Keller with a good run on Tristan. He'll take the race lead. Evan Worrell going to go to the outside. Jacob Keller, Evan Worrell to the outside for the race lead. 2 laps complete. Jacob Keller, your leader. Three wide, back of the pack. Noah Kaufman going to get the bad end of that deal, as he's going to now be at the back of the pack. As Evan Worrell trying to get around Jacob Keller in the 37. Great battle up front. Jacob Keller and Evan Worrell continuing to battle for the race lead. Caden Scott, A.J. Andrews, and Nolan Caldwell now on the scene. 5-car battle for the race lead. Jacob Keller trying to hang on as A.J. Andrews now to the outside of the 62 of Caden Scott. Three wide, good move by Corbin Robinson to move up. He's up to the 6th spot. Worrell still in the outside lane trying to get around Jacob Keller. Halfway home, and caution on the speedway. field getting Evan Worrell, Jacob Keller. Green flag in the air right at the halfway point, 7 and 8 to go. Evan Worrell starting to pull away from Jacob Keller. The 62 of Caden Scott trying to hold off the 68 of Corbin Robinson. Corbin Robinson on the outside lane, the youngster looking to take over the second spot, your new track record holder. Not quite there on the bottom lane. So Robinson stays up high. Keller still there on the bottom. Evan Worrell continues to lead. 3 laps to go. Worrell and Robinson, green flag in the air. Worrell trying to hang on, hold off the top qualifier. Corbin Robinson in that outside lane. Down the back straightaway. Into turn 3. 2 laps to go. This time, can Robinson get around Evan Worrell? He leads at the line. White flag for Corbin Robinson. The 07 of Worrell in second. Problems for Caden Scott. He goes up the racetrack, gets split 3 wide, and off of turn number 4, your first career feature win, Corbin Robinson. Evan Worrell second, A.J. Andrews, Caden Scott, and Nolan Caldwell. So, a few weeks ago, Midvale Speedway held a couple classes for the trophy stock drivers. They needed to learn a few things, so we had a bunch of veterans come down and talk to the kids and take them out there during the week and show them some things. One of the kids that they were most impressed with was Corbin Robinson. Probably learned the most out of that class that John Chapman had here during the week. And he will go into victory lane for the first time in his young career. In the Crazy Waynes Incorporated, Robinson Garage Doors, Mauer's Tinning, Detailing, and Vinyl, Earl's Body Shop, sponsored number 68. This little youngster is going to be one happy young man when he climbs out. Here's your winner, Corbin Robinson. And also, Wes Gillen down here, he told me He is absolutely paying Corbin Robinson that Gillen Body Shop bonus. So Corbin Robinson going to get $200 cash right now from Wes Gillen. Thank you, Gillen Body Shop. That kid drove his guts out. And why we come over here? Come on over here, Corbin. All right. So slide down here a little bit because they got to get your pretty face on camera. So you just got $200 in your pocket. That was pretty cool. You want to thank Gillen Body Shop for that?
Thank you for $200, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, tell me, you learned a lot. I was told by a lot of the old guys whenever they had the class down here, when John had that class for you guys, he said the 68 was talked about the most. Do you think you learned a lot when that class happened?
Yeah, Bob Schneider and Kevin McClintock showed me a lot about doing good lines, and it helped me a lot.
So you got the new track record tonight. You got $200 in your pocket, and you got your first career feature win. Pretty cool, man.
Yes, it is.
Who you want to thank on the 68 tonight, young man?
I want to thank all my parents and all my sponsors and my brothers and all my friends.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Your winner in NAC Tuning Victory Lane, Corbin Robinson. How about Gillen Body Shop? Coming down and giving him $200 cash. Said, here, kid, you drove your guts out. Fastest qualifier, and we'll just put $200 in your pocket. Not too bad for a 13-year-old kid. I'm sure he's probably pretty happy about that. Hopefully he doesn't go buy any things he's not supposed to. 69. Bobby DeVore, the second, led the first 12 laps of the Firecracker 150 here at Midvale Speedway about a month ago. Victory in that Animal Racing 169. Bear Swartz, the old veteran, on the outside. Getting ready to go, green flag racing, DeVore and Swartz. Green is in the air. Bear Swartz up the racetrack. Problems with the 77 of Bear Swartz. And the 169 of DeVore going to have the race lead. Jonathan Ritter trying to get to the inside of the 169 of Bobby DeVore as the 67 of Bob Page working to the outside. DeVore, Page, front two. Bobby DeVore and Bob Page still side by side for the race lead. Bob Page to the race lead. DeVore back to second. Ritter third. George Riddle in fourth. Bob Snyder Jr. on the outside. He's fifth. Bear Swartz back to sixth. Then AP Wren, Dennis Wood, Chris Grubbs, John Sanquest, Corey Herron, and Jerry DeVore. Ritter and DeVore, contact between the 48 and 69. The 77 of Bear Swartz. 57 of AP Wren. Your front six. 9 laps complete. Green flag in the air. Caution on the speedway in turn number 2. Of Bob Page, the 169 of Bobby DeVore the second. Green flag in the air. Bobby DeVore slips back in that outside lane. Bob Snyder Jr. going to fire up to the inside, try and take over the third spot. Bob Page, your race leader. George Riddle, Bob Snyder Jr., your top 3. Bob Page looking for that first late model win here. George Riddle looking for another win this season and the Gillen Body Shop bonus. George Riddle with some smoke from the right front, but he's going to get to the inside of Bob Page. George Riddle with a rubbing right front tire. Your race leader, the 67 of Bob Page. Halfway home, 15 in, 15 to go. Bob Page sitting right there in that second spot. George Riddle with a lot of smoke out of that right front tire. Will it hang on? Will Riddle be able to pick up another feature win here at Midvale Speedway? Or will Bob Page get his first? Bob Snyder Jr. looking for another feature win. He's a 3-time champion here. AP Wren with a good run in the 4th spot. Dennis Wood 5th. John Sanquest Sr. 6th. Jonathan Ritter 7th. Chris Grubbs in 8th. Bobby DeVore the 2nd, 9th. And Bear Swartz 10th. DeVore the 2nd. 17 laps complete, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Riddle and Page, green flag is in the air. Caution on the speedway. John Sanquest Sr. spins on the front straightaway. Hall of Fame and Old Timers Night, week number 12 at Midvale Speedway. Looking for that $200 bonus is George Riddle. Green flag in the air. George Riddle will again have the race lead. Bob Page going to drop back into that 2nd spot. AP Wren up to the 3rd spot. Jonathan Ritter trying to get to the inside of Dennis Wood for the 4th spot. George Riddle, your race leader. AP Wren spins in turn 3 and 4. Tough break for AP Wren as he spins in turns 3 and 4. 11 laps to go. "11 laps complete. Green flag back in the air. 11 laps to go. Oh, Bob Page almost into the fence off of turn number 2. gathered it back up. Bear Swartz spins into the infield, and caution on the speedway. $19 laps complete, 11 to go. George Riddle, Bob Page, green flag, back in the air. Riddle on the bottom, Page up the racetrack. Here comes Jonathan Ritter. Ritter up to second. Snyder almost spun in turn 3, and Ritter going to move up to second. Is George Riddle your race leader? Your top 2 qualifiers now run 1-2. Five laps to go for George Riddle. 5 to go for Riddle. Jonathan Ritter runs second. Bob Page third. John Sanquest in fourth. Chris Grubbs in fifth. Bob Snyder Jr. sixth. Dennis Wood seventh. AP Wren eighth. Bear Swartz ninth. Bobby DeVore the second in 10th. 11th is the 69 of Jerry DeVore. And the 4 of Corey Herron. White flag for George Riddle. Jonathan Ritter is there. Will Riddle make any mistakes on the final lap into turn number 3? Ritter going to try and get in there, not going to make it work. George Riddle will win again. Jonathan Ritter finishes second, Bob Page third, John Sanquest fourth, and Chris Grubbs in fifth. And a trophy, your winner, George Riddle. I can tell you, taking a look at that right front tire, he's going to need another one. It hung on, though. Brandon Short down here, good to see him. Brandon, glad you're feeling better, buddy. Hopefully you'll get back in a car soon. But George Riddle, I'll tell you what, when that thing started smoking, we kind of got on the radio and said, hey, man, your right front's smoking pretty good. We knew you could see it, but didn't know if you knew how bad it was.
Well, checkers are records, Chris. You know, we ain't going to stop at that point no matter what unless it stops us. So I got to thank Brian Short. I got to thank my guy Larry Clay. Last-minute adjustment, like 5 minutes before we come out here, and I think that did it. But, yeah, we was pretty good tonight. My buddy Brandon, I'm telling you what, I've just never been so happy to see anybody in my life. The guy just happy to see him here, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. After his accident, good to see him. He's a little sore, but hopefully back in a race car soon. And, you know, hopefully you can beat him on the racetrack soon.
Yeah, he's quite a competitor. I don't know about beating him, but, man, we'll try. You know, we try every week, but, you know, the guy's tough.
Well, it looks like Emma beat him. That's what it looks like now. I bet you he wishes that's the case. But nonetheless, who do you want to thank on the zero tonight, brother?
Well, you know, like I say, Larry Clay, I got to thank him. I got to thank Thad Rosenberry, because without him, I wouldn't even have the car. I got to thank Brian Short. Brandon Short's like 20 years old, and I take driving lessons off of him all on his years. You know, I got to thank John just for being John. I got to thank Scott Baker, because I'm telling you what, Scott Baker taught me some stuff back in the day there, and I asked him to ride along with me all the time, so I really got to feel like he's driving the car for me, because I'm just not that good, to be honest with you.
Well, I think you're pretty good. I think you're selling yourself short. But I can tell you this. I wanted to ask you, do you know how to play guitar?
I do not know how to play guitar.
Well, Gary Smith says you look like Ted Nugent.
Well, yeah, I mean, I look like a lot of people. Come on, let's... All very good-looking people, by the way.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Your winner, George Riddle. In Victory Lane, he won a bike last week, and now he's in Victory Lane with George Riddle. Pretty cool. Victory Lane with George Riddle. Of course, the Needle Speed Solutions direct detail sponsors on that car, same as Brandon Shorts. It's good to see Brandon here and in health. So getting ready to go green, Zach Marshall and Don Rufner Jr. Green flag in the air, and we're underway. 3 wide, thought better of it. The Sizzler drops back down. He's in the 3rd spot. Now going to have the 0 of Alan Clark back to his outside. Don Rufner Jr. going to lead lap number 1. So Don Rufner Jr., your race leader. The Sizzler, Blaze Bacon, trying to get around that 0 of Alan Clark. Now he's getting swallowed up by the 36 of Ennis. Wes Ennis pulling double duty, driving for Rich Dunlap tonight. He's on the outside, moving up to the 4th spot. Problems for Jamie Leslie in the 64 as he pulls up high. Phil Bunton Jr. right there on the rear bumper, the 36 of Wes Ennis. Tough break for Jamie Leslie. He'll pull pit side. Don Rufner Jr. with a nice lead in the 47. Zach Marshall hanging on to 2nd in the 23. But he's quickly being caught by the 36 of Wes Ennis, the 79 of Phil Bunton Jr. And here comes the 07 of DR3 in the outside lane, along with your fastest qualifier, Curtis Finlayson. Closing in on the halfway mark of this 15-lap feature, 7 laps complete. Halfway home. 8 in, 7 to go for Don Rufner Jr. But here comes the 36, Wes Ennis, behind the wheel for Dunwoody. He's towing the 79 of Phil Bunton Jr., the 007 of DR3, and the 53 of Curtis Finlayson with him. '79 of Phil Bunton Jr. got into the 36 of Wes Ennis, and now caution on the speedway as the 52 of Salinger gets into the front of the wall, or gets into the wall with the front end on the back straightaway. Ennis hasn't won in a compact in quite some time because he hasn't been in a compact. DR3 looking for another win this season, and Curtis Finlayson looking for his first career fast feature win. Green flag in the air, 6 to go. Don Rufner Jr. just couldn't get going, and that's going to allow the 36 of Wes Ennis and the 53 of Curtis Finlayson to the front. Wes Ennis, your race leader. Finlayson all over the back. Wes Ennis in the 36, the 53 of Curtis Finlayson. Two laps to go for Wes Ennis, Curtis Finlayson, and DR3. White flag, get your cameras ready. Finlayson by a nose at the line. Final time down the back straightaway. Wes Ennis, Curtis Finlayson into turn number 3. Off turn number 4, Curtis in the high lane. Wes Ennis on the bottom, and checkered flag. Curtis Finlayson, your winner. Wes Ennis finishes second. DR3, Don Rufner Jr., and Alan Clark, your top 5. So the youngster, Curtis Finlayson. In the Finlayson Towing, Finlayson Trucking, sponsored number 53. As Wes Gillen heads back in, he's giving out plenty of money tonight. The $200 bonus to Curtis Finlayson. Wes digs back into his pocket. Curtis was the fastest qualifier, so Wes has got a smile on his face, but his pocket's getting lighter. You got to go to, make sure you visit Gillen Body Shop because he's going to need to replenish this money. They're the best in the business anyway, so it's all good. So getting ready to climb out, the youngster with his first career fast feature victory. Your fastest qualifier, Curtis Finlayson. All right. So you got $200 in your pocket anyway. I'll let you get all your stuff off because I know it's a little hot out there. You sure your hair's out of place? You want me to fix it for you? I mean, you got better hair than your brother, so. 2 comments in the last 10 seconds. I'm paying you a compliment, man. All right, so come talk to me. $200 in your pocket, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't expect to come out here with $200 and go out and win this thing too.
Well, I'll tell you what, this thing was on rails all night long. It's been getting better and better each and every night. Fastest qualifier, you stuck the thing in the outside, and I'll tell you what, you and Wes, you guys had a pretty close battle there. And he was doing what he had to do to kind of stall your momentum. You were trying to keep him down. Talk about it.
He was definitely getting me down there, but it was coming out of the corner of the final turn. I had him.
Hey, you knew it was yours.
Yeah.
Who you want to thank on this 53 tonight?
Big thanks to my dad. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do this. Kyle, Johnny.
Congrats, buddy. Good job. Heck of a run. Your winner, Curtis Finlayson. As we get ready for 20 laps for the Snap-on Tools. Chief starter Jonathan Smith, green flag in hand. Pork Chop has the green flag. And we're underway for 20 laps of street stock racing. Brandon Thomas bringing Bryant Smith with him. Chase Berkey stuck in that outside lane. Still battling out there. Pork Chop will lead lap number 1. Berkey going to battle back in that outside lane. Brandon Thomas still your race leader. Brandon Thomas trying to pull and clear the 54 of Berkey, but Berkey continuing to battle back. Bryant Smith nowhere to go in the 1. Gabe Pringle spins in the turn number 2 and the number 7. So we'll see if the 3 of Page got his deal fixed. 6 laps complete. Pork Chop and the 1 of Bryant Smith. Green flag back in the air. Bryant Smith, your race leader. Brandon Thomas trying to hang on to the 2nd spot. Bryant Smith stretching out his lead over Brandon Thomas. The 54 of Chase Berkey trying to get around. Nobody wanting to tiptoe on that outside except for the 67 of Rector as he's to the outside of Kylie Wood. Wood now trying to get to the bottom of Chase Berkey. She does. Berkey up the racetrack. Here comes the 58 of Koger. 3 wide back in the pack. Pringle thought better of that move. Meanwhile, Bryant Smith pulling away. And now Kylie Wood to the outside of Brandon Thomas. And a little bit of contact right there and spinning. Caution in turn number 1. Off turn number 4, Bryant Smith, Kylie Wood, green flag in the air. Bryant Smith, Dennis Wood, Kylie Wood, and the 55 of Kyler Bertram, your front 5, or front 4. Running 5th, the 44 of Brandon Donnelly, 6th, Gabe Pringle in the 7. Then the 54 of Berkey, the 74 of Passwaters. 5 laps to go for Bryant Smith. Can he hold off Dennis Wood? White flag for Bryant Smith, trying to hang on. Dennis Wood looking to the outside lane. Bryant Smith into turn number 3. Wood on the outside, final lap. Bryant Smith, Dennis Wood at the line. Bryant Smith, your winner. Dennis Wood finishes 2nd. Kylie Wood 3rd. Kyler Bertram 4th. And Gabe Pringle in 5th. Pulling in act tuning, Victory Lane for the first time this season. So getting ready to climb out. Finally a feature win in the number 1 street stock. Here's your winner, Bryant Smith. Hey, you got a bent rim, I'm just telling you.
It happens. It's racing.
I mean, I was just saying there's a bent rim there.
I don't care. The car was pretty good. We did a lot of changes this week. Did some things that everybody said wasn't going to work, and obviously it did. Car's a lot better. I'm happy. I mean, how about all these fans? I'm so happy to win on Hall of Fame night. A lot of deserving people here. I'm happy to say I've raced with Scott Baker. He's a legend. Taking tips from Pappy Miller. He's a big fan of mine, and I'm a big fan of his. I mean, I'd love to see some more people in the Hall of Fame. Like my parents, I think, should be number 1 on the list for getting in the Hall of Fame. Dan Bailey should definitely be here. Maybe somebody can change that next year, but there's a lot of deserving names that deserve to be here. But I'm proud to win in front of all the legends in this great crowd. I'm so happy that I have such a great crew behind me. We're not a big crew. We don't have a lot of money, but I'm out here having fun, and that was a blast racing with Dennis. He's a top-notch driver. I was just protecting the inside. I seen that black front end on the outside, and I thought, oh, man, not now. But I won the drag race.
Well, I mean, that's the longest I've ever heard you speak. Usually we're going back and forth in Victory Lane. I should just hand the mic to you.
Well, it's been a while, but I've won a few races in my lifetime, but I'm glad to finally get back to Victory Lane at Mid. Mikey's here helping me tonight. I mean, my wife and kids, they even chip in, and it's we're, like I said, we're a smaller crew than most people realize, but I'm just so glad that I won on tonight's night in front of all these legends.
Well, and that's awesome. And to tell you where this car was, a little less than a year ago on top of the wall over there, it's a miracle that it's even here in Victory Lane. Great job tonight. Who you want to thank?
Well, yeah, it's the same car. We didn't get a new car. We fixed that. Somehow we fixed it. Natalie Morgan did most of the work. She is phenomenal with fabrication. But I want to thank my buddy Marcus. He is my stone. He does a lot. I asked him to come over and help weld the seat in, and he never left. So most of the nights it's just me and him working on the car. I mean, TJ helps out some. Mikey helps out some. My brother's chipped in a hand here and there. Again, my wife and kids for putting up with all the stuff I go through for this damn thing. And it's something that we all love, and that's why we're here.
Congratulations, buddy. Welcome back to Neck Tuning Victory Lane.
Thanks, Chris.
Your winner, Bryant Smith. Alongside, the 23 is Brenton Irwin, the 5 is Tabby Stuber, the 7 of Marcus Cox, the 6 of Ryan Alm, the 69 of Drew Romig, the 6 is Tyler Harmon, the 4 is Andrea Leach, the 79 is Eric Brokaw, 12-lap feature is green. Timmy Long still your race leader. The 23 of Brenton Irwin trying to find a way around Marcus Cox on the outside of the 85 of Jonathan Weber. The 69 of Drew Romig in that 5th spot. Brenton Irwin trying to find a way around the 46 of Timmy Long. And Timmy Long gets turned. Jonathan Weber involved. So cars stopped on the speedway. Jonathan Weber being tended to, as well as the 46 of Timmy Long here at Midvale Speedway. And we will see you next Saturday night for the MSS Wings Super Modifieds right here next Saturday night at Midvale Speedway. We'll talk to you, each and every one of you. We will give an update on Timmy Long and on Jonathan Weber as soon as we have one officially from their families. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers as you head home tonight. Please be safe, be careful going home, and we'll see you next Saturday night.
The races have been called.